Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
I want to tell you how much I admire you for coming to a Shiur Torah in 4th July. Your reward...
I promise everybody double mitzvot.
Yeah, no, it's much more than double. There's a rule, you should know. The rule is that when no one in the world learns Torah, those who do get the reward for all of them. That's why there are some tzaddikim in Eretz Israel that wants to learn on Friday before Shabbat, when everyone is busy getting ready for Shabbat. They want to learn for a few hours. Why? Because they know no one learns. Everyone is busy now. Showers, preparing the kids, running, last shopping, you know. So they decide they learn Friday all day until Shabbat.
There must be single.
So, very nice of you to do that. I was thinking maybe to do more questions and answers if you have. And if not, I'll force you to hear something. But if you have, it'll actually be more interesting. Since I don't hear a question, you know, one of the most famous questions that people has is the age of the world and who created the world. Who created the world? Some people don't have the question who created the world. Why? Because they claim the world was always here. Always. Always means forever. Who is the founder of this shita, of this approach? Aristo, the Greeks. 2,400 years ago. Aristo, the Greek, he claimed that the world with the same rule of natures was always here. Always here. Many scientists jumped on his idea, like we say, kemotze shalal rav, like finding treasure on the street. Why the scientists wanted to adopt such a not logical idea? When I say not logical idea, who knows why I say not logical idea? Before we get into the Torah, once you learn Torah, you know it's completely not rational.
Because it defies the concept of cause and effect.
That's one thing. And
the effect has to be a cause.
Right. So we are not aware ever of something that was created ever with order, symmetric, with color, with shapes, with the plan that was just made by itself, or something that has features, and you can claim that it was always here. We're just not aware of anything like this in our world. Any item you point, if you investigate, you'll find who was the creator of this item. The Torah said that there is a boss that created everything. The Torah also said what's the purpose of the creation. The Torah also said that the most important thing in the creation is the human being. The Torah also said that from all the human beings, the Jewish people are the chosen people. They are the one who the creator of the world made a covenant with them for eternity, and they are the light of the world. Don't ask me questions from today's generation, because many Jews forgot their job, forgot their mission in life. And not only they're not the light, they actually, some of them are the darkness of the world. And they're in charge of the evil. We're not talking about the ones who betrayed their mission. We're talking the purpose of those who know Torah and try to follow the instructions that the Creator gave them. But before we go to the Torah, who can give me a rational reason why it's not logical to claim that the world was always here? Scientific answer, not Torah answer.
As I said before, because there has to be a cause. And because for everything in nature, there is a cause. There is something.
Tell me, please, the claim that there is a cause, how does it answer my question? Let's clarify yourself. Just because there is a cause, how does it answer the question for those who claim that the world was always here?
Science.
Aristo was a scientist. Many of the Greeks were scientists. Many modern scientists adopted.
Maybe something can't create itself. Like, where did it come from?
If you remember, last week we had a doctor here, which I had an hour argument after the lecture with him. You know, that he, based on his language, he learns many books of science, and he was claiming that the world was created by a random explosion. And when I asked him about what is the chance that a cell, one cell, will be created by itself, he told me it's possible. Later he told me that there's a computer program that will do randomly millions of attempts to create a picture of a human being. So any one of us, our image, the computer software will, if you put the picture of a person, so the computer will make many random attempts. And
cell by cell.
Yeah, by making all kinds of stains on a screen, and one of the billions or millions of attempts, I don't know exactly how it works, would create exactly an image of a human being that we chose. Now wait, do you think that something like this is possible? I told him that it's not possible.
Yes.
So he insisted that it's possible, and he said that he has a friend that is an expert in this software. The next day he emailed me that he spoke to his friend, and his friend said that it will take 7 years, based on the statistic.
So it's not impossible,
It's just going to take 7 years from morning to night around the clock, which probably will be billions or trillions of attempts, until it would create an image of a person. Now remember, we're not talking just an image of a human being. We're talking a person that we choose. So if we choose one of us, the computer has to make the exact face of a person, that when everyone looks at that picture, it would know exactly who we're talking about. I still claim, and it's all recorded, that something like this is not possible. For the same reason I told him that if we take 100 coins, and that's much more than the dots in a computer, and we throw them 1 billion times on the floor, not one time it would create any image with symmetrics, with the plane, none of them. It won't create a circle, it won't create a triangle. And not only that, if you throw 100 coins on the floor, and then you write exactly where each coin fell, and then you try to repeat the same thing, and you're going to do it 100 billion times. You throw 100 coins on the floor, hopefully they will fall exactly in the same, like the first time. It will never happen. Now, who thinks that something like this can happen? That all 100 coins will fall exactly in the same place on the floor? We throw it randomly, like it happened in the first time, after hundreds of billions of attempts. Do you think it will happen?
I think it could happen. I don't think it would happen, but I don't think it couldn't happen.
Albert Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe.
Right.
Which is the few words that would be summation of what you just said. God does not play dice. Albert Einstein was not a frum Jew.
Right.
He was a Jew.
Right.
But he was not unaware of the fact that God exists.
There was a part of our arguments, I mentioned Albert Einstein, that he believed in God, and he denied it completely. So I quote to him a part of Albert Einstein's book, which I brought in my film Torah and Science, and he said that later Albert Einstein was denying what people understood from his words. First, let's say the words. The words that Albert Einstein wrote, he said, the more I investigate the creation, the nature, I'm amazed from the brilliance and the ability of the Creator. And it shows us how far we are to understand His intelligence. So that's the center of religion in my eyes. This is what he say. I was translating it as we spoke from Hebrew to English, but I'm sure you can Google it and see the words of Einstein. I think a sentence like this leaves no doubt that he believed in a creator. He may not call him God, he may have different name for him, but he obviously knew there is a creator because he wasn't a stupid person. A normal person knows, if I saw a book, someone wrote that book. The ink did not spill accidentally in a printing factory and created a book, right? If I say to you that this book, you know, all these words that came together and make a meaning, it's a bucket of ink that fell on the floor or fell on a machine, and everything started to hit the papers, and all the papers glued together, and the hard cover came into place, and the beautiful gold letters came into place, and that's how we have a book. Right away, you'll call 911 because I'm a threat to society, right? But to claim that the brain of a human being was created like that is much more foolish than to claim that the book was created by that. So he said that Albert Einstein denied it. In case he's right, doesn't look to me like a liar, but in case he's right, that really he denies it, we have to check. In case he's right, that's not impressing me at all. Why? Many times you say something in a lecture or you write in a newspaper an article, and people begin to pressure you, and it invites so much pressure, and you're trying to be politically correct and avoid the pressure. So what happened is the next day you try to fix the damage you made. But everyone knows already who you are, right? If you are racist and you spoke against one race, and the next day everyone started to attack you, and now you say, no, you didn't understand me, you know, it was you took things out of content. You know, everyone knew what you meant, and everyone knows your opinion. Now you can say millions of words to correct the impression that you made. You know, people may forgive you. People would say, okay, listen, at least he's apologizing. But everyone already know what you think. So if you speak, if a scientist speaks about a creator, it's too late to try to say, I didn't mean there is a creator. So it's irrelevant what he said later. We already know what he thinks. Plus, I don't believe that he ever contradicted himself, because it's not logical to claim there's no creator. But we are not really arguing now if there is a creator or not. We are arguing when the world started. According to Aristo and his friends who followed his opinion, the world was always here. Many other scientists say no. And we're not talking religion here. Remember, it's a philosophical question. Many other scientists say no, the world has a creator. Even those who claim the world was created by a random explosion, what they call the Big Bang, even these kind of people still claim that the world had a start at one point in history. It started somewhere. But Aristo said the world was always here. Always here. Always means endless amount of time. So now the question is now, why many scientists follow the opinion of Aristo? Give me one incentive that those scientists has to back him up.
They have no responsibility now to Akash Baruch.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I didn't expect first shot to be so precise. All right, you left me almost speechless. Exactly. That's
Right, I see you next week.
That's by the way one of the most popular reason for people to back up false science for one reason only. It releases my conscience from following God and his orders. When I follow some kind of a name, bombastic name in the world of science that people admire for the nonsense that he writes in his books, but people admire him. So once I back him up, I follow his shita, I follow his opinion, right away it prevents people from attacking me being not religious, being against the book of God, following my own life and not his instructions. So why the scientist wants to say that Aristo is right? Because once they said there was no creator, obviously, like you said, there's no purpose. And if there's no purpose, who's to tell me what to do? We are part of this coincidence. We are here, no purpose. We can do whatever we want. But once we know there is a creator, which means the world was created back in time, that leads us to the next step. What is the next step? The next step is there is never a creation without a purpose. Every creation was always made with a purpose. So now the creation has a purpose. Now it leads us to the third question. Did we ever find a creation with a purpose that the creator did not tell the users how to use? And what's the purpose of his invention? If someone made a computer, he doesn't write a manual how to use his computer, so what's the point of making it? No one would know how to use it. Right? Every car comes with a manual. Even a little chair and a table that you have to assemble together comes with instructions. Every creation comes with instructions. Once you need more than 2-3 steps to put it together, you already have a manual. Once it's sophisticated to use, you must have a manual. Otherwise, you don't know how to use it. You make damages, you destroy it. Right? If you have a tape recorder and they're not telling you, you start pressing few buttons at the same time, you break the machine. In 1 month, the machine is out of commission. So, we did get manual with our children. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The Torah, it's a manual that answered all the questions in life. All right? So now, that leads us, is it possible that...
But we have to know how to use it.
It's asking, the point is like this. Is it possible that the Creator made a world without telling us why? The answer is it's not reasonable. That he will make such a beautiful world, he will put us over here, and none of us would know why. It's not realistic, such a thing. So here comes the Torah into the picture. So the Torah comes, and the Torah says, I'm the manual of God. He made the world, and I am the book of instructions. What is this? Torah means instructions in Hebrew. Now, so it's a 50-50 chance. What the people claim, is it true or not? The religious people who brings the Torah, and they say to the world, we have the book of God, and all of us has to follow it. Jews, non-Jews, everyone. The other half of the world say, no, we don't believe in the Torah. Some of them don't even believe in God. So now it's an argument who is right. Just like every other scientific argument, if it's able to be proven scientifically, the argument will be over, right? For instance, if I claim that 2 + 2 is 4, and he claims that it's 5, what do I have to do? I have to take 4 oranges, put 2 here and 2 over there. I say, how much is this? He say 2. How much is this? 2. I put them together, now it's 4. Say, right, I was wrong. It's not 5, it's 4. I give a simple example, but this is usually how it works. When Albert Einstein came with the theory, in the beginning it was a theory. All the scientists in the world examined his research, and all of them came to the same results. Not one was able to contradict what he said. But 7 years, all of them continued to deny. Why? It's called, in psychology, it's called cognitive dissonance. The heart and the brain do not work in the same speed. What the brain catch in a minute or in an hour may take the heart years to understand. So after 7 years, one scientist say, listen, we're continuing to deny, well, we really have nothing against it. You can claim it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Eventually you have to supply a proof that it's wrong. That's why I always tell people, I say, we want to debate you, scientific debate. I say, no problem. Watch my Torah in science film, and tell me if you can contradict one of the things that I said over there. If you're able to contradict one of the things that I say there scientifically, not stories, scientifically, and you have an explanation other than God, then we'll open a debate. But as long as you cannot write to me one comment against what I say to contradict what I say, why should I waste my time? Why should I drive? Why should I meet with you? Why should I waste 2-3 hours when anyway I know the results of this debate? You are here. You're not here to listen. You are here to talk. Here, I give you the film. Watch it. Write to me. You claim that the Torah knew the number of the stars. Tell me if 3,300 years, a person with no telescope, without spaceship, without satellites, without the things that we have today, was able to know all the numbers of the galaxies and the stars and write it in a book. I want an explanation. Show me who was able to write it. Obviously, there's no answer. Tell me who was able to calculate the renewal of the moon 6 digits after the decimal point in a generation that didn't even have a little calculator. How exactly you were able to measure all the thousands of cycles of the moon and to know to such a precise number that the cycle of the moon will never be less than this number unless if the creator of the moon wrote it. Please explain to me. Please explain to me what human being has a full control on 72% of the world, which is water, and he watched the entire world simultaneously to write in a book that nobody will ever find any species in the water that have scales but doesn't have fins. Show me what person is able today, with all the technology that we have, with computer, with submarines, with anything you want, a person that is able to view the entire world, see all the rivers, all the lakes, all the oceans, and see trillions of things moving inside the ocean, and write, for the next 3,300 years, I guarantee no one will find X in the ocean. How can a person do such a thing? Especially when it's very logical. Why? You have species that have scales. You have species that have fins. Species mix all the time together. So it's very logical that something like this would be in the water. Just like when black and white mix, a black person and a white, what comes in the middle is half and half. It's light brown. It's not white and it's not black. It's something in between. Why? The mix created something new, right? If animals such as horse and a donkey got mixed, they created something new. It's called mule. So there are many things in nature that were created by mixing of animals. And fish are among all these animals and many things that lives in the water. Since the time it was written until today, they double or triple the amount of things that lives in the ocean, not to talk about all the artificial experiments that scientists all over the world does in different aquariums all over the world. So obviously the Torah took a huge risk. You know what it means to write such a thing and then later to be proven wrong? It's not only jeopardize your knowledge of nature, which with that we can live, it jeopardized the entire Judaism. It's actually not jeopardizing it, it's dismissing it in a minute. Why? Because it's all depending on one mistake that you find, and you know this was supposed to be divine information, and now we have a human error in it, which leads us after that to the conclusion that we cannot rely on any other verse in the Torah. Because if one verse has a mistake, every other verse in the Torah has a potential mistake. Therefore, how do you expect a person to devote 70, 80 years of his life to a book that already proven that is able to make human errors? We cannot rely on it. Not only that, it gets even worse. Even if millions of us saw God giving the Torah to Moshe, this generation saw it. And we lived 3,000 years. And after 3,000 years, someone comes and gives us a copy of that book from 3,000 years ago, that we saw in our own eyes that God gave it to him. Not stories. We saw it. But 3,000 years, someone bring this book again to us. And we read in this book one human error. Even if we saw, we cannot rely on this book. Why? Because it got mixed with human knowledge. And therefore, we would never know which one is human, which one is divine. So it will dismiss the book. I'll give you a better example. If you have one very expensive diamond in a box, and you threw 99 perfect imitations of this diamond, they're all great cubic zirconia made in Russia, the good one, that even a specialist cannot tell the difference sometimes. You really need laser and... Yeah. Okay, so now, what happened to the diamond that was worth $100 million a second after I threw the 99 fake diamonds into the box? What happened to his value?
It became worthless.
It became worthless. Very good. Why? It's not that it's worth now 99 million or 90 million. It basically worth nothing, because not one normal human being will pay 100 million or even a million on a stone that is 99% chance that is a piece of glass, right? What person will throw $1 million with a 99% chance that this one that I'm holding is a piece of glass that's worth $5, right? So that means that even if we had the Torah of God, if somebody modified it change it in any way, right, that will dismiss the original Torah for eternity. That's why God will never let it happen. That's why he protects the Torah so well, because he knows it will defeat the purpose of the creation.
But Rabbi,
Yeah.
well, we have Christianity and
Yeah.
Islam.
Yes, and they're full of human errors.
Yeah.
Full of human errors.
That's what we're dealing with now in the world. In the Western world, at least. We're dealing with exactly what you just said. Because what happened was that Christianity, and then later Islam came and tried to fix Yiddishkeit, tried to fix Judaism.
Not exactly. They didn't try to fix Judaism. They tried to spill some meaning into their own life. They saw there's a group of people called the Jews. They have a religion, they have holidays, they have relationship with the creator of the world, and we have nothing. We're just like another species in nature. What are we? What do we have? We're not dogs, we're not cows, we're not birds, we are human beings. How come they are the only one who has a relationship with God? So they wanted to create to their own life some kind of a meaning. That's why they started to tell story about JC and about Mary and all the story that they made it up. And slowly, with the interference with the Romans and other different things that happened in those generations, somehow they modified a new religion that came out of Judaism. Yeah. Never denied Judaism, always said that the Jews received the Torah from God.
It really is Judaism.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, but they changed.
But the
they
behavior is not Judaism.
No, but they made, you see, you have to understand, when a person made a fake religion, it's going to be a human religion, which means a person will never do something that is inconvenience for himself, right? I'll give you an example. The Christians found a very easy way out from everything that the Torah say. In one sentence, they basically dismiss the entire Torah. In one sentence, saying that JC will take all the suffering of all the wicked people for all their sins. He takes all the suffering. In 1 minute, dismissed everything the Torah says. Everything the Torah says was dismissed in a minute in Christianity. Why? Why should people make repentance? Why they should be decent? Why they should stop kill? Why they should stop torture people? Why they should stop murder? Why they should stop cheat? Why they should stop do these things? If by putting $50 in a father's box in a church and make a vidui, a confession, or believe that JC takes all the suffering and we all go to heaven just because we believe in him, that's very easy way out. 1, 2, 3, and right away you became Moses. Why? He takes all the suffering. You don't have to pay for your crime. Very, very easy. In one way it's clever, in one way it's very foolish. Depend who you ask. For foolish people it's very clever. And it's very relaxing. Nothing to worry about. Why should I be uptight? Here, put $50 and I'm clear. Clever people, no, it doesn't make any sense. Regardless, Jews, not Jews. Clever Christian person. I have clever ones that write me emails. So it never made sense to me what's going on. The Torah is full of warning, full of reward and punishment. All of a sudden they come, they say God gave part 2, contradict completely part 1. Over there it says you have to be very careful not to be a criminal. All of a sudden he gave book number 2, don't worry, you can do whatever you want. JC will take all the suffering. There's no hell, no say, just believe in him. Rather, they come and say something else that doesn't make any sense. They admit that the Jews received the Torah from God. And they know that inside the Torah it's all built in a concept of reward and punishment in life and afterlife. And they come to the righteous Jews that gave all their life to follow the laws of the Torah, never stop, and they tell them, you cannot go to heaven. Why you cannot go to heaven? It won't help you that you keep the Sabbath, that you never stole, that you're faithful, that you help people, that you learn Torah all your life, that you love God, you believe in Him, He's very happy from the way you're behaving. It won't help you. Why? Because you don't believe in JC. If you don't believe in JC, you go to hell. The Jews never said to the Goyim, if you don't believe in us, if you're not becoming a Jew, you go to hell. No, the opposite. The Jews say to the Goyim in the world what God said. All you have to do is to keep the 7 laws and you'll be righteous Gentiles. You don't need to be us in order for you to go to heaven. you can go to heaven the way you are right now. All you have to do is what God told you to do. There's no missionaries among Jews that runs and try to convince them to join us. However, with them, if you don't surrender to them trying to convince you to be one of them, right away the first threat is you're going to hell. Same thing Muslim, same thing any other of the religions and the cults, Scientology, what's the name of it? Scientology, you know, they're based on a lot of fear, you can never leave them, they always threaten you, it's horrible, you know, you cannot come out. Once you're in, that's in the beginning they're very nice to you, and then when you try to come out, they never leave you alone. It's like a mafia. It's unbelievable what's happening there. By us, it doesn't work this way. Everyone has free will. We teach what the Torah has to say. By the way, the Christians and the Muslims and all the rest are not the only one who find an easy way out of the Torah. We have among us Jews that do it without maybe realizing what they do. You have groups in Judaism that goes and tell the secular Jews, don't worry, all of you go to heaven just because your mother was Jewish. There's no such a thing a bad Jew. There's no such a thing a secular Jew. Our rabbi promised every Jew is a diamond. Automatically, just because you're a Jew, you go to heaven. Don't worry about what the Torah say, punishments, execution. Don't worry, we don't believe in this way. Just that you're a Jew, you go to heaven. Why? Our Rebbe, before he died, that's what he said. That's what they say. They convince all the wicked Jews in the world to stay wicked. Maybe they're not doing it intentionally, but they're doing it very foolishly, and they're going to pay a tremendous price for getting God very upset. Because Hashem wants the Jews to make repentance, not to believe in nonsense. But they run around the world, they have the money and the sources, and they convince all the wicked Jews in the world to stay wicked. Why? Because when someone like me come and say to them, you must become Shomer Shabbat, you have to keep the Sabbath. It's the covenant with Hashem, and the Torah gave a lot of warning about someone who violates Shabbat. The next day they come and say, don't believe him. God is merciful. God doesn't give punishment. He loves all of us. It's enough that you're Jewish already, you have a share to the world to come automatically. That's what they said. Now the secular Jews, who do they want to believe? Someone like me that is strict and speak judgment, or someone like him who gives him food, give him attention, give him a hug, and tell him that he's great, he's righteous? Who should he want? Who his evil inclination convince him to believe? To believe me or to believe him? Of course to him. Why? Same thing the Christian wants to believe JC. That is an easy way out. Why? We don't have to sweat. But it gets worse. There are many, many shortcuts that people take in this generation. Very Orthodox Jew today, Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, almost all of them, almost everyone, even Avrechei Kollel, even people who sit and learn Torah all week. Not only ignorant fools, even people who learn Gemara hours every day. When it comes to do tshuva, to make repentance, what do you think they do today? What do? They know they have sins. They know we all make sins. Everyone makes sins. No one is perfect. So how they handle their sins? Besides once a year go to shul on Yom Kippur and do a little bit slichos for a few days. How they handle the sins? When they have problems in their life, when Hashem sends them messages, wake up my son, you're in the wrong direction. Money lost, sicknesses, marriage problems, children problems, IRS problems, police problems with the partner, none of it is coincidence. Is Hashem punching his children, get up, before the punches will be real hard. Wake up now. So what's a person, there's a kid that his father gave him a punch. Very little one, like this, not even painful, a little one. Clever kid already know my father never hit me. If he gave me a little patch on my hand, obviously it doesn't hurt. I can get 500 like this a day. It's not going to change anything physically. But logically, that's already a red light for me. If he gives me this patch, obviously I know where I'm going. I'm going to a wrong direction. He's trying to put me back on track. But a foolish kid, what does he do? What does he do, a foolish kid? How he handle that patch? A foolish kid, instead of knowing that his father tried to get him in the right track, he has lots of complaints. And what does he do? He tried to hide, he tried to run, he tried to do undercover when his father is not around. He's changing his strategy. What am I saying? Let me clarify myself. Today I have many Jews that are very religious. When they have problems in their life, instead of do what the Torah and the Gemara say, tshuva, tzedakah, tefillah. Tshuva means repentance, tzedakah means charity, tefillah means prayers. Prayers with tears. That's what the Gemara say. What do? They go to a Kabbalist. Not one day in my life I don't get at least one email. At least one, sometimes 3, sometimes 7. Do you know any Kabbalist that I can go for my problems? Why they want to go to a Kabbalist? Of course, they're talking about all the fake Kabbalists. The real Kabbalists, you don't know who they are. But the ones who make a lot of noise are usually the one who knows nothing. They just found an easy way to make money. There's few Arabs in Israel that they pretend they're Kabbalists. They sit by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and guess what? One of them was caught after 20 years. That is an Arab. So they told him, okay, listen, whatever money you made, you fool thousands of people every week. But one question we have for you. You used to tell all the Jews who come to you with their problems that they have to start keeping Shabbat, putting tefillin, eating kosher. Why? You're an Arab. So what do you think Muhammad answered? What do you think?
What? That's a great brother, great.
Why do you think? What was his answer when they asked him why you gave the Jews an advice to be more religious in Judaism?
Good for business,
He gets
brother.
credit for their tshuva.
So they keep coming back.
So he said, what do you expect me to tell them? To violate Shabbat? Everyone knows I'm fake. If you come to one who pretends he's a rabbi with a beard, he puts a big yarmulke, he holds a teilim in his hand, and he comes and says to you, no, don't worry, you can work on Shabbat. Right away, you will know something is fishy here. Even the dumbest Jews will know, right? Oh, something is not right here, right? So the idea is, he had to tell them something to cover for his scam. You got the point? So people want Kabbalists. Why they want Kabbalists? Because Kabbalists, we solve the problem by giving him $100.
And what?
We solve the problem by giving him $100. He gives us a blessing, we kiss his hand, we put $100 in a jar, and we feel very good. Just like the Christians do with the Father. You know, they stand, they make a little confession, they talk to him, put some money in a box, goodbye. You understand? So this is not Judaism. That's nonsense. Where does it say in the Torah, you have a problem, you go to somebody and he will dismiss your problems? He will dismiss your sins? Where? Where does it say in the Torah that one person can erase the sin for another? A holy man can pray for you that Hashem will go easier on you. He can give you a good advice. He can teach you more Torah. He can teach you how to do tshuva. Yes, all of that fine. But where does it say that he can go like this and the problem is over? And if you believe in it, I don't even want to say what you are. Figure it out yourself. So that's not what the Torah says. We have to follow what the Torah says. Also, one more thing. Many people are blinded by extreme movement of the righteous people. Let me clarify myself. If a person comes, if two people walk into the room, one doesn't have a beard, doesn't have a big sombrero or a turban, doesn't go like this with his eyes, doesn't make faces, doesn't, none of these things. Very simple person. He comes, he sits aside, hold his siddur, pray normal. You don't see on him anything that is a huge, giant chacham, Kabbalist, big tzaddik, big Talmid chacham. You don't see on him. And then another person comes to the same shul, same synagogue, and he go like this, and he screams, he jumps, he does all kinds of things. Who do you think, after that, you tell the people, both Kabbalists, they come to help the community. If you want to make an appointment with them now, you can go talk to them in the back of the shul. They put the one without the show in one room, and the one with the show in another room. Who do you think all the people will go to? The one with the show.
Human nature.
The one with the show, right? Yeah. Now, even if you come and tell them the one without the show is 10 times bigger than the one with the show, more than half of them will still go to the one with the show. They won't believe you. That's why they say in English, one picture is like 1,000 words. I'll give you an example. One time I was in a Shabbaton in Englewood, New Jersey. So I was there the entire Shabbat. I was the speaker, so I gave many lectures there. There was one rabbi from Israel, a good rabbi, tzaddik, he does a lot of good things. So he came from Bet Shemesh in Israel. He has a fund that raises money for poor people and help the poor people in Bet Shemesh that don't have food, sometimes don't have a place to live, sometimes they need help to marry their children. He's collecting a lot of money. He knows a lot of wealthy people here. He's doing it for years. He established himself very well here. And that's what he does. He comes here a few times a year into different parts of the world, collects money, and that's what he does. So in the end of the Shabbaton, he had a video of what he does. He filmed all the poor people in Israel, and he showed to the world how they suffer. One doesn't have teeth, the way they live. In the winter, they cannot afford heat, and some of them they take pictures of the refrigerator that they hardly have food. It shows the way they live. 14 kids in a little room, you know. He made a 20 minutes film. And me, they all know over there that I take whatever money people give me, I make CDs, and I give it for free everywhere I go. And people take the CDs and become Shomer Shabbat, become religious. So he's helping the bodies, and I'm helping the soul. Every fool in Judaism knows that the soul is 1 trillion times more important than the body. The body is disposable. Comes here 60, 70, 80 years, goes to the garbage. But the soul is a spark of God who stays forever. Saving the soul is a much more important mission than saving a body. After all, the body won't die. It will be hungry, maybe it will be sometimes sick, maybe it will have infection from the dirt, maybe the wedding won't be so nice, it will be a very tiny, simple wedding. Yes. It's all fall into the category of suffering. We're not denying it. But no one will die. I don't remember that one person died in Israel in the last 60 years from starvation. Not even one. There's no record of it. If something like this would happen, you would know about it. It just did not happen. And everyone has a place to sleep. Everyone, somehow, even with no income. So in the end, everyone somehow managed. So in the end of Shabbat, there was a couple, Persian couple from Great Neck, that was also in that Shabbaton. So they came to the other rabbi, and they gave him a check. And I was standing talking to him in a kitchen over there. There's a big kitchen. Me and him were talking Divrei Torah about all kinds of things. So they wanted to leave Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night. So they came to give it. So they spoke to him a few words. And they gave him a check. So since I was standing next to him, they felt bad that they're only giving him and not giving me, right? So they looked at me and said, "Bli neder, our next check for charity will be for your organization." So I said to them, "No, don't worry about it." They say, "Just this is more important," they say. So he, because he's a tzaddik, and he believes in Hashem, he knows the money comes from Hashem, not for people. So he told them, "No, you're all wrong. His cause is a lot more important than mine." He said to them, "I feed people, I feel bodies. He saves souls. This is the children of Hashem who are lost. Much more critical." So I said to them, "Don't worry about it. You gave him, no problem. It's not about competition now. I wasn't even asking for any money. I just went to speak there. But just to show you how people think. If you go now to almost every Orthodox Jew, unless if he's really into Torah and yeshivot, and you tell him we need money for yeshiva, or we need money for poor people, 90% will give the bucks of the poor people, not to yeshiva. Why? Half of the religious people are brainwashed from the media that those who sit and learn Torah do not help the world. Why should we sponsor them? They are brainwashed from the false media. So even the religious people, not everyone believe in the concept of learning Torah. Now those who believe in learning Torah, right, they still feel more a pity for those who are considered poor, who don't have food. That's more urgent for them. So I one time had a guy who came also from Bet Shemesh, different guy. He has a yeshiva in Bet Shemesh, 40, 50 people learn Torah. So he came to Brooklyn to a real estate office. And the two owners there, both of them, I made them religious. They were not religious. So I made them religious, and they went open an office together. Okay, now he asked them to donate every month to his kollel, to his learning program there in Israel. So they already knew from my lecture that today, if somebody comes today in the door, you can never trust him, never. Don't be impressed by his beard, by his hat, by pictures, by letters, nothing. It can be all fake. They go here to Brighton Beach, the Russian fake everything you want. Certificate, letter from the chief rabbi, everything you want can be fake today. So don't be impressed. If you don't have a way to check, if it's few dollars, who has time to start investigating? Give him $5, let him go. But if you want to give a massive amount or monthly, you have to check your investment doesn't go to the garbage. So these two knew that they have to check. So they found a very good way. They told him, if my rabbi approve you, we'll give you. So he said, who's your rabbi? They gave him my name and my telephone number. So he calls me up. He's Ashkenazi rabbi from Israel. He calls me up. He said, I have this program in Bet Shemesh. This is what we do. I came to two nice guys here, and they say, if you approve it, they'll give me money every month for my guys for the Torah. So I said, okay, I don't know you. Tell me your location. I'm gonna call my sources in Israel to check if everything that you say is 100% true. Of course, I'll tell them to give. Why not? So he gave me the place, the name of the kollel, the name of the address. Right away, I called that rabbi, the one from the Shabbaton Negud. He's also in Bet Shemesh, and he's a very famous figure there because everyone knows him. He said to me, give me 5 minutes, I give you a full report on him. 5 minutes later, he calls me back. He said, perfectly legit. He has the same number of people. He said, it's really in that location. They really give the money. Everything is legit. So right away, I called him back to that rabbi. I said, you can tell them in my name that I approved it. If they don't believe, they'll call me. Don't worry. So Baruch Hashem, he called me a few days later, and he thanked me. So I say to him, were you successful collecting what you needed? He said, really nothing. I hardly covered my ticket and my expenses here, hardly. So I told him, let me give you an advice. Next person you come, don't tell them you collect for yeshiva. Don't mention the word Torah. So he said, what do you mean? I collect for yeshiva. I said, yeah, but the people that you collect for them are also poor people, right? They're all poor. They don't have income. They learn Torah all their life. So they live very poor. I say, of course. So I say, from now on, you say you collect for poor people. Poor families in Israel that have few children. They don't have income. They must have money to eat. That's not a lie. It's 100% the truth. Just leave the word Torah out of the picture. So him, as a Talmid Chacham from Israel, he didn't understand what I said. I said to him, trust me, you're going to collect a lot more money. Then a few days later, I think a week or 2 weeks later, he called me up and said, I'm going back to Israel. Thank you for your advice. It was like a diamond. I collected everything I needed. Why? Because when he come to people and he said to them it's for Torah, the people have no merit to give for Torah. No merit. So their resistance in their heart goes thousands of percent higher. Why? Hashem doesn't want them to gain so much reward. So he makes like Paro. Hashem said to Moshe, I will tighten the heart of Paro that he won't let you go. Why? Because I don't want him to let you go. After 210 years you were there, so many years of slavery, he's going to make tshuva in 2 minutes and I'm going to have to forgive him? I don't want it. A part of my plan is to make him more stubborn, that I can destroy him full force. Same thing with Jews, not only Paro. Hashem said, if a person is very wicked and he does a lot of horrible things, if somebody comes to him and says, I want you to give money for Torah, and he agree with happiness, right away he get millions or perhaps billions of mitzvot, depending how much he gave. Because every letter of the Torah, it's already one mitzvah. Every letter. So if yeshiva of 20 people, even a small yeshiva, 20 people, they learn all day Torah, it's hundreds of thousands of mitzvot for each one, multiplied by 20 is millions every week. Goes to his account. Right away, it takes him from very negative to a positive balance. Because the power of the Torah is endless. Not to talk about that the people who learn Torah now become more religious, because the Torah kills the evil inclination. It's like antibiotic. So it helps in many different ways. It makes Hashem happy that people learn His Torah. The people become more serious in religion, and they become more knowledgeable, and then they teach Torah to others. Many great things goes to His account. Since Hashem doesn't want it, He make a fire in His heart. Huh? I'm going to give them money, they sit all day and learn Torah and do nothing? I'm going to be the idiot who gives them money? No way. Go to work. Why don't you go to work? The Satan is destroying them. But if he comes and say, I'm collecting for poor people, it's a much, much, much smaller mitzvah. He doesn't know which poor people, learn Torah, non learn Torah, can be bum on the street. They don't give any production to the world. What do? Sit in the street and play backgammon. Play chess here in Ocean Parkway all day. Sit in a park in Israel, do nothing. Sit in the market, eating from the leftover in the market. But they do nothing. They don't learn. They don't hardly do mitzvot. All day they sit. Many of the poor people are like that. They can't find a job, so they sit all day, do nothing. So it's a much, much lower cause. That's why people feel a lot more mercy for that. When a person sees a Talmid Chacham that is poor, he has no mercy for him. How do I know? Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was cleaning horses, was Am Haaretz, 40 years old, ignorant, working for Kalba Savua, brushing the horses, taking care of them, washing them. So he said, before I became religious, he became Baal Tshuva when he was 40 years old. Before I became religious, if I saw a rabbi, a Talmid Chacham, I wanted to break his face. I wanted to give him a bite like a donkey. So his student told him, why a bite of a donkey? You should say a bite of a dog. Dog bites, not donkey. He said, no, donkey sometimes also bite, not like dogs. But when a dog bites, he makes holes. But it doesn't smash the bone to powder. When a donkey bites, there's no more bone left. You can put a cast, nothing can help. The donkey grind everything, smash it to pieces. If a donkey bites a person, it's over. That organ is finished. He lost it. This is how much I hate people who learn Torah. Rabbi Akiva. We know after who Rabbi Akiva became the greatest Jew in history, so we knew he had a great soul, we knew he had great potential, great wisdom, and he spoke like this. So what do you expect from the ignorant Jews? That somebody come to collect money for the Torah? Of course they'll hate the Torah. So the trick is, don't say Torah. Just tell them I collect for poor people, poor families. Oh, poor families. When you show them the poor family in a picture, you don't even have to talk. Before the movie is over, everyone come right away, take out the checkbook. This is the way it works. One time, I went...
Is the Yetzer Hara involved in preventing?
Of course.
Okay.
Every mitzvah, there's Yetzer Hara that you won't do it. Every mitzvah. Even to get up and wash your hands.
But let me ask you this.
The Yetzer Hara fight with you. It's okay, you can manage without it. Don't be so fanatic. You always have this voice speaking to you in your head. When a woman wants to leave the home, so she's thinking, what should I wear? She's standing in front of her closet. So she sees all the things. Now some of them are very modest. Some of them are half enough. Some of them completely not modest. From her old days. So the Yetzer Hara always show her what less than what she wants. If she wants something modest, right away it begins to talk to her. What do you need to be a Rebbitzin? What do you know, you're going to a wedding, you have to look cool. You need to get married. No, if guys would see you they're getting dressed like a grandma, no one would want you. You have to be attractive. So right away push her to the short skirt, to the short sleeves, to the tight clothes. Now she has to fight. She has to answer back. No, I don't want to be half enough. I want to do it the right way. So it's a battle. Now if she passed the test today, it doesn't mean tomorrow she doesn't have a test. Tomorrow the same battle. And the next, it can be 20 years faithful to Hashem. And then 1 second you have a collapse, and that's it. Yes.
So I'm just wondering, are you in essence, or was this rabbi from Beit Shemesh, in essence, almost tricking the Yetzer Hara to when he said, "I'm not"? You told him not to collect for Torah. I'm collecting for poor people. So the Yetzer Hara is collecting for poor people.
Yes, because the way the Yetzer Hara programs the person. What for? If he knows the person loves to give for Torah, he makes sure that this person will only hear negative things about people who learn Torah. Like I give you an example. I have a yeshiva myself in Yerushalayim. Most of the money for the yeshiva come from one person. One Jew from here, from America, So one time, every year he gives checks for the whole year. But you know how a year fly by before you realize the year is over. So every year you have to call him and reconvince him to give again checks. It's not automatically, which means you live with a gun to your head. He can come and say, hey, listen, this year I don't want to do another year. And then you're left with, that's it, you have to close the place, Or if you have a nest, your miracle, you'll find replacement for him, which is not so simple. So the last year, almost the year is finished now. Almost now the year is finishing. But when the year started, I called him up. I say, this month is the last month. The check's finished. So every time it happens, over the last few years, I have half an hour to give him a lecture, to kill his Yetzer Hara, his evil inclination. Because I know it's been building for a year, the evil inclination. I have to balance it. Otherwise, there's no chance. So I begin to talk to him again about the level of the Torah and what great merit he has that 24 people sit and learn Torah all week around the clock thanks to him. And the amount of money that he gives, for him it's peanuts. It's not that it's going to change his lifestyle. If it was coming from his food, I understand. You need a big challenge. But for him it was peanuts. With or without it, in the end of the year, it's not going to make a difference in his feelings. Baruch Hashem, big business. But the Yetzer Hara is the Yetzer Hara. It doesn't matter. You make $1 billion a year. When you need to give 50,000, it still kill you. So he say to me, tell me, fine, I understand to learn Torah, it's important mitzvah. I understand all that. Why these people don't go to work? Can't they work half a day and learn half a day? I say, no, not anymore. In the old days, it was possible because the world was clean. You didn't need to travel so long. Everything was local. You go with your horse, you come back. What kind of jobs people had? Shoemaker, farmers, these kind of jobs. Not like today. You go to offices, you see all the naked people in Manhattan. It's a different world. You want to be a holy rabbi, you can't even step in these places. It's what's happening in the street, what's happening in your office. So I say to him, today, not only that you cannot leave the yeshiva and go to places with no modesty, even if the world was fully modest, today we don't have the brain of the rabbis 100 or 300 or 500 years ago. We are much, much lower. We have to learn more hours than them, not less. In the time of the Rambam, every average businessman learned minimum 9 hours a day. People who worked, people who learn Torah, they learn all the time. There's no time, all the time. But people who work learn 9 hours a day, the Rambam writes. So I say to him, it's impossible. So then he comes with a different approach. He says, okay, I understand, but what's going to come out of this learning? It's going to be learning until the day they die? Or one day they become rabbis, or we benefit from them in any way. So I say to him, right now, that was a year ago, they're learning the laws of Nida. It's very complicated laws. How many rabbis in the world knows to look at the cloth of a woman and know if the blood is pure or impure? It's very hard. You have to learn a lot. You have to be meshamesh, someone who does it. Believe me, it's a very hard thing. So I told him that's what they're learning, but we learn it in the highest level, not like they say in Israel, chafif, on top of the water. No, we go to the root of everything, of the Rishonim, Shulchan Aruch, that when a person finishes by the end of the year to learn this, every question you ask, he'll know right away, whether he's Faradi, whether he's Ashkenazi, different custom, everything. So he said, okay, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. No, so I told him one more story, and that's how we hang up the phone. I told him, David HaMelech was a legendary king, not only for Israel, for the whole world. You saw, he wrote Tehillim, you see what a soul he had. David HaMelech said to Hashem, it's in the Gemara, look at me, I'm a different king than the rest of the kings in the world. All the kings in the world have servants, palace, they live, they get up whenever they want, they're in charge of everything, they have many women, they do whatever they want, they don't have to worry about going to war, teaching Torah. Look at me what I do. I'm a king and I have to check cloth of women with their blood to see if they're pure or if they need that for their husband. just like every neighborhood rabbi. So what's in me that I'm a king when I'm doing the dirtiest job? This is the idea is what. So I told him, David HaMelech used to do it. So you telling me you're not convinced if it's important or not? The next late morning he calls me up. He said, guess what happened today? I say, what? He said, I went after the davening, I went to learn the Daf Yomi of today. They taught about David HaMelech who say to Hashem that they used to teach to check the cloth of the women. So I got my answer from Hashem. So another year, Baruch Hashem, we learn Torah thanks to this miracle. That killed his Yetzer Hara. Between the speech I gave him, we needed another punch to turn it around. Now we'll see what's going to be in a month from now. What kind of speech I'm going to come up with. But the idea is that the Torah already said, "Betachbulot ta'aseh lecha milchama." Let's just finish what we started. I just don't want to leave it half open here. So the arguments, if the world was always here or the world was created, there's one very important law that knocked out completely the theory of Aristo. And many of the scientists who try to avoid religion, try to be secular, try to support him to relax their conscience. So this is what happened. Listen good. It's called the second law of the thermodynamics. You heard about it or no? What does it say? Listen good. I'm reading to you word by word from a science book. The second law of the thermodynamic was born in the brain of the French engineer named Sadi Carnot, who lived from 1796 until 1832. He only lived 36 years, that's it. He died young, almost like the Ramchal, 2 years less. When was that? In the first quarter of the 19th century, almost 200 years ago. Okay. The concept of this second law of the thermodynamics is that there is no order. What does it mean, no order? And every system in our world, there's different systems. The longer the system exists, the more random it becomes. When you come, I'll give you an example. When you come to your home, after the cleaning lady left, you see her walking out of the door. Everything is neat. All the toys on the shelf, everything, the towels are folded. You come to the bathroom, it smells beautiful, lemony smell. The sheets, everything in place, not toys on the floor, no dirt on a marble, nothing. Every minute now until the evening, you came late afternoon, from now until the night, every minute that passed, this order is becoming more of a mess. That after 2-3 days until she comes again, the house is a zoo. You cannot walk on the floor from the mess. So why is it? The more you wait, the more the mess is growing. Same thing in nature. So it says like this. It's called, there's another scientist, the physic, Clausius. He lived from 1822 to 1888. Yes, 66 years, also young. And he called it entropy. Entropy. Now, what's entropy? Listen good. He say, every process in nature, their value can only grow. The number, it's only growing or staying the same, but never going reverse. Always progressing forward or stay just as big as it was, but it doesn't go back. In other words, in every phenomena in nature, there is lack of symmetric. It's not symmetric. If you don't understand the word that I use, I'm trying to translate it from Hebrew to English. It's a little bit difficult. Accord in relation to time. So the more time is going by, the order, if it was going in the right direction, it begins to spread to different direction. What is it like when you shoot a missile? You aim it to the target. You want the missile to go into a window 10,000 miles away from here. So if you only miss by 1 second, 1 millimeter, the missile is a little bit shifted to the right by 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter, you cannot even see what it is. The further it travels, the missiles, the further it goes away from the target. If the target is only 100 yards away, it would still hit the target, because it's only 1 millimeter. But if it's 10 miles away, it's already going to miss it by a few feet. And if it's 100 miles away, it's going to feed it by 100 yards. Okay, so far everything is clear. So now it says like this. From this concept of entropy, the conclusion is that since the lack of order is constantly growing and becoming worse, if we go now reverse in time, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, 300 years, we will get to the point when it was perfectly in place. Everything was perfect order in a system. Then we cannot go anymore in time, because that was the beginning point. In the beginning point, whoever created that, it was in perfect order. We see the more time is passing by, this rule is ruining the order. So Aristo claimed the world was always here. If the world was always here, that means we see that the order in nature of things randomly, constantly going out of balance. Then it cannot be. Why? Because if it was created with order, it should stay with order. If it was created without order, what was the purpose of it, Bichlal, to begin with? So he says like this, we're going back on time, and it's proving that there was one point that it was perfect. And at that point, it was the beginning point. So it had a beginning. If it had a beginning, it had a creator. If there was a creator, there is a purpose for the creation. If there's a purpose for the creation, what are we doing here? And that's when the Torah comes into place. Now remember, some of the scientists are Christians, some are anti-Christian. The Christian scientists always try to find things that back up their belief, that the world is only a few thousand years old, etc. The non-Christian scientists always try to find discoveries that will put doubts in the minds of the believers that the Torah is divine. Leaving JC out of the equation here, forget about JC for a minute. Talking about if the religion is valid or not, if there is God, if he gave a book, it's all subject to what each side can prove. If the side that is against Christianity is proving that there is no creator according to their discoveries, then Christianity is dismissed, and obviously it's going to reflect on Judaism, which is the foundation of Christianity. You understand? So therefore, the conclusion of all that, okay, now the theory of the Big Bang got a very heavy knockout in recent years. There are many testimonies, scientific testimonies and research that prove that the galaxies are constantly going far away from each other. They're expanding in space. And all the material in space is expanding out of the center point, from the center point to the sides. So that means from one galaxy to another, there's bigger distance than it was 100 years ago. You understand the point? No? So what does it have to do now with that? This research, this testimony, prove that there was a point back in time when all the material in space were all concentrated in one location. From there it started to expand. Why? Because if it goes like this, now we rewind the video, it all comes back, and that's the beginning point. That's it. It cannot go anymore. That's it. There's no way to push it. It's very crowded. So that leads the physical scientist, right, to believe in the Big Bang theory, that in the beginning all was concentrated and then it started to expand. There was a huge explosion of energy back in time when the universe started to expand to all direction. This modern theory do not back up the assumption that the world was always here. It's knocking out completely the theory that the world was always here, because always means always, and over here we just proved that it gets to a point that before that there couldn't be nothing. So obviously now you come and say to me, okay, so you proved that the Big Bang theory, it's a very logical theory, but it's also against the Torah.
No.
They're not using it to back up the Torah, those scientists.
But one cannot ever define the word always.
Right, always means always.
Doesn't mean
There's no end.
It means something else.
Always means forever.
Always cannot mean itself. But we cannot define always.
Well, we cannot define always because we live in a physical world.
That's what proves the rabbi's point.
We live in a world. Einstein say when there is material, there is time. No material, no time. Ramban said it 700 years before him, that the time can be measured only in relation to material. Once there's no material, it all becomes spiritual. Spiritual is endless. There's no limit, no beginning point. You see, when the children come and ask you, hey, Abba, who made God? It's a very, very common question that the children ask. And some adults also ask that. You always say every creation have a creator, right? So who created God? Somebody had to create him also, no? Maybe it was a bigger God who created him. And then before that, it was a bigger God who created that one. So the answer is, this is not a legitimate question. The people who ask this question come from a theory that God is material. Today we know, with the knowledge that we have in the Torah, that he has not even 1% material in him. It's all pure, 100% spiritual. Spiritual without material doesn't have a beginning point. That's what confused Aristo also. Because in spirituality, you can come and say Hashem was always here. God was always here. They ask you, what do you mean? He didn't have a beginning? The answer, no. Beginning, it's something that's subject to time. But to material. Material has a beginning point. When there's no material, there's really no beginning point. Because there's no time. Let me give you an example. The name of Hashem is Haya Oveh V'yeh. Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey. It reflects 3 different times. The past, the present, and the future. Why in his name he made sure that all 3 times are in his name? The past, the present, and the future. The answer is to show you that I'm above time. For me there's no difference, the past, the future, or the present. Everything for me is always the same. That's, by the way, the answer to the famous question that everyone asks. There's not one person in the world who didn't ask this question at least once in his life, or 1,000 times. What is it? If God knows the future, how do I have a free will? If the day I was born, he already knows if I'll be wicked or righteous, how I choose what to do, how I do all this. The answer is, this question is only legitimate if your creator was another person like you. That he took a hammer and screws and a drill and I don't know, pieces of bones, and he connects you in a factory and he made you, and he comes to you and says, I know your future, then you're right. But God is not like that. He's not another person who did you like this. Why? He is above time, which means for you, you are progressing as time passes by. Another hour and another hour until you die. But he, the moment he created you, and the moment you died, it's for him the same present. I know you're getting confused.
No.
I'm going to try to penetrate deeply into your brain and try to clarify it for you. For me and for you, everything has order in life. You get up in the morning, you wash your hands, you pray, you put tefillin, you put first talit, then tefillin, then you eat breakfast, then you go to work, then you work X amount of hours. There's orders. So every hour of the day reflects something else that you do. Try to imagine that your entire day was present. It's very hard to understand. What? The minute I get up and the minute I go to sleep is actually the same second. A person cannot understand such a thing. Because we were created with the ability to think only in a time system. There's not one transaction that a human being does in his life that it's not connected to time and to order. There's nothing. You eat, it's subject to time. You sleep, it's time. You walk, it's time. You learn, it's time. Every move you make, it's time consuming. It takes 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 100 seconds. You add everything up, it's 7 years of life. But it's going in a chronological order. But with Hashem, it's not like that. For him, there's no past, future, present. Yes, he comes to our world and behave with us in the laws of the creation that he's the one who set. He set a system with time. Because the only way to judge a person, to test a person, is to give him a test that will have a limit. If the test doesn't have a limit, when the reward's gonna start? If the test will be forever, for eternity, you're constantly in a test. There's never gonna be a reward. So the test has to be over, and right after that, the reward. So the test is limited. That's why we live only 70, 80 years. But the reward is endless. That's exactly the point that people don't get. When a person dies and the soul comes out of the body, the limitation of the body are no more in effect. The body is disappearing. Within 11 months, there's no more body. And the soul is 100% spiritual, just like God himself. Billions of years will be not even the beginning. Trillions of years is the first second. It's no limitation anymore, unless if we decide to reincarnate the soul in another body and give it a second chance, or a third chance, or a fifth chance, depending how many lives a person come here. Every time the soul is forced into a body, it's another test, and test must be limited. Based on the limitations and the achievements, that's how the reward level, not time. Time is always eternity. The reward that the righteous Jews will receive is endless. But the level of the reward, if you're going to be in this heaven, or a higher level, the 310 different levels of worlds, the Gemara said, and the Zohar, that's depend on how many mitzvot you did, and in what way you did it, and how many times, etc. So now let's conclude. The conclusion of that is that the moment God created the world, that second it's over. It's like, what is it like that I ask a little baby, I put the baby right here, and I ask him to crawl 10 feet. But by me, I make one step, and I already go 10 feet. Once I jump 10 feet forward. Then I can jump back on time. I can travel on time. Because for me, there's really no up and down. It's all the same point. Nobody can understand that in their head. Because we can only analyze things based on time. But if you take the time out of it, if you take the material out, it's basically eternity. So this is the idea. When Hashem gave us the Torah, we are really living the moment. We are really choosing what to do. We choose good, we choose bad, and that reflects our future. Like the GPS, every turn you miss, all the future options are changing accordingly. You have an opportunity to get married when you're 20, good girl, but you wanted to make more money, you didn't trust Hashem to feed you, so you waited, now you're 25, now you have another opportunity to get married. This opportunity is not the one you had when you were 20, it's different already. Then it's reflecting your entire future, the quality of your children, where you're going to live, how much Torah you will know. Everybody knows it's all in the hand of the wife. When a person gets married to a kosher woman, she makes him kosher one way or the other. If he married to Chaz v'Shalom, a prostitute, she takes him off the way. She wants to go here naked, she wants to go to the beach, she wants to go on a boat, she wants to go to all kinds of places. She only wants pleasure and show off. And even if it wasn't like that, it becomes like that. I had a case like this of a doctor that makes a lot of money. I don't know if it's a lot of money. $400,000 a year used to be a lot of money in this country, not anymore. But that's what he make. And he met a girl, very materialistic girl. And he's very down to earth. Not such a bad match. Mamash, we're almost done. 3 more minutes. So it's a very bad match, because when a person is very down to earth, very simple, not a show off, he wants to live in a regular apartment, he doesn't want to be flashy, he wants to drive a simple car, and the girl only wants flashy, wants to buy a beautiful big home in the most expensive neighborhood in America. She wants very expensive diamond ring. She wants the top of the line clothes. She wants to change his entire mentality. Obviously, she will destroy him. In the end, she left him. He cried for it, but he doesn't know how lucky he got. Now he's going to get married to a down-to-earth, righteous girl. His entire future is going to be better. Not only if he loves her more or less, the children will be better, the atmosphere in the house will be better, the chance to cheat will be lower. Remember, the more big eyes a person has, the more evil inclinations attack him. And we all know what's happening in the world. The rich people are usually the ones who get divorced 5, 6, 7 times. Poor people can't afford all this divorce. He thinks to himself, I don't have nothing, I'm going to get divorced. What will I do? Who's going to take me? But the rich person always think, I'm being wasted in this marriage. What's in it for me? I can do so many things with my money, with my show-off, and I'm lucky in this miserable relationship. So right away, every incident, divorce. Next one, divorce. Next one. Look at all the Hollywood stars. 5, 6, 7 times, 10 times. Why is it? They feel they miss a lot. So they want to grab as much as they can from everywhere. This is the way the Satan is. In the beginning, he drowned you a little bit, then a little more, until nothing left from you. So we'll finish mamash last minute. The conclusion is like this. We choose, we progress, everything we do for good and for bad automatically reflects on our entire future. I give you an example. If a person does something good, and that something good that he did automatically opens him channels that would never open for him if he would not do the good thing that he did yesterday. That's the words of the Gemara, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, avera goreret avera. A mitzvah dragging after it another mitzvah. And a sin, another sin. Not literally like most people understand. No, if you do mitzvah doesn't mean that 5 minutes later now automatically you'll do another mitzvah. Because then if you do one mitzvah, all your life will be mitzvot. Based on this formula. That's not what he meant. So if you do one sin, now all your life will be sin? Because sin drag a sin? No. What it means, it opens you opportunities that were not there for you. Just like when you met one person and he's full of influence, he opened you 5 more people. And the 5 more people opened you another 20. And the 20 opened you 200, and all of a sudden you know half of the world. You call the president, you call this, you call Bill Gates. How did you become like that? It started with one friend who introduced you to another one. So the same thing with mitzvot. One mitzvah, Hashem right away gives you another opportunity. And you pass that test, right away another opportunity. It's like finding treasures. Or the other way around. Bezrat Hashem, we should always be to the positive sides, because it's not only the moment, it's what's coming after that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.